Okay. Pankration Philosophy, episode 220. I'm your host, Pocholo Cruz. Welcome to a video podcast. And joining us today is Julius Shipton. Julius, hello.
What is up, dog? Yo, I'm fucking so excited to be here. I feel like I finally made it, man. It's my first time on a podcast. I feel like goddamn celebrity sitting in my own kitchen right now, bro.
Yeah. Nice. Well, thank you for making it out here to the show. I mean, through the power of digital. But
Power of digital.
Yeah, well, let's get started. So I guess Julius, like you're a martial artist, just had, your first amateur fight, but I guess let's go back. How'd you get started in martial arts?
Martial arts has been a part of my life, my whole life. Like I think my first ever like introduction to like martial arts. Like I kind of like, grew up with a lot of older cousins, so we just like kind of like fuck around with each other and like just scrap with each other on like Thanksgiving and stuff like that. And then
as cousins will do.
Yeah. And then my first like official introduction to like a martial art was as a toddler, like maybe I'm trying to think. This is before 7 or 8. This might have been around like 5 or 6. I started Taekwondo, and I did that not for too long. I got to I think there's a picture of me with the mohawk and an orange belt on.
Okay.
Toddler, and I did that for a little bit, and then family situation, just couldn't make it to practices and stuff. It wasn't worth it, so then stopped going to that. And then the next time I started martial arts was when I was like 7 or 8 years old. I actually went to like a legit ass like MMA gym, and it was Undisputed in North Park in San Diego. And it's actually a goddamn restaurant now, man. I drove past
it. It's the restaurant now?
It used to be the
it was Undisputed, now it's Undisputed Restaurant.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Undisputed is actually a chain now in San Diego, and I think it was at the time. I think the dude that owned it at the time, his name was Dave. But dude, it was the sweetest fucking spot. Like imagine corner spot in North Park, and like they have all the fucking like metals and shit in the windows, and there's a ring in the window, right? And you walk in, there's a ring on your right, and then you walk to the left, and there's like a gift shop. But bro, they had like fucking like monitor lizards and shit in the gift shop too, like just like random shit like that. I was like I remember being a kid going there and just like fucking like, because I'm an animal dude too, man. Like I could definitely see myself having some exotic pets or some shit someday. But yeah, and then they had what's it called? You walk in, ring on the left. There was like 2 cages there too. There was a cage next to the ring, and then there was a cage upstairs, and then there was like a little jiu-jitsu den downstairs. And then on the left, when you walked in, there was like a mat area with the mirrors where you shadow box and shit, and then there was bags hanging, and they actually had like a weight set up in there too, and showers upstairs. And like, so that was like my first like time at like a legit ass MMA gym. Like even there, like a few times as a kid, I vividly remember getting my hands wrapped by War Machine. Just like not knowing who the fuck he was. I don't know if his name was officially War Machine yet, but
the man that would eventually be known as War Machine, and then
the man soon to be known. Soon to be known as whatever. Yeah. And Barrett Yoshida was a jiu-jitsu instructor for the kids class that I was taking.
Barrett Yoshida. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And I think we saw. I mean, I don't remember vividly, but my dad said he saw Dominic Cruz there a few times. And there was a few other dudes there. But so I trained there from the time that I was like 7 or 8 to the time, and I left San Diego around 12, maybe a little bit before that, maybe like 11. So like a 4-year stint there.
About 4 years, okay. And you were doing kids classes. So was it kids BJJ, or was there also striking classes that you did? I mean, the War Machine had to wrap your hands.
Yeah. So I go to the what's it called? The morning adults Muay Thai with my dad.
Okay.
Before school, but like I was going to that for a little bit because it was like a 6 a.m. class, and I go before school, and then I actually remember we'd get go to the class, and then we get sorry, 1 second.
That's all good.
Can you still see me?
No.
How about now?
All right. Yes.
All right. Cool. We go to the 6 a.m. class, and then we get fucking Jack in the Box for breakfast afterwards, and then I get dropped off at
champions.
And then I get dropped off at school, dude. And then afterwards, after school, sometimes we go to the kids' classes because the kids' classes were until the afternoon. So then, but I had gone to the fucking what's it called? To the adult classes for a little bit, and like I was just like a kid chilling with the adults, so like I thought I was the shit, right? And like I was like, bro, I know what the fuck I'm doing. Like everyone's telling me I'm doing a good job, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I go to the kids classes with the ghetto Mexican kids who've been fucking banging for fucking like
Yeah.
So like I remember that I think the coach, his name was like Tiger or something at the time, and my first kids like boxing class, I just got like right into sparring, and I must have been like 7 or 8.
I know what to do.
Yeah, no, but no, like I was ready, bro. I had my shirt off and shit. I had Muay Thai stance. You know what I'm saying? Like in the boxing fucking class, you know?
Yeah.
And I was so excited. I was like, and we're in the ring, right? Like, and as a kid, like this was like the biggest shit. I was like, bro, I'm in the fucking ring in the fucking corner spot, like on a busy fucking intersection. You know what I'm saying? And like, and me and this dude Anthony are about to throw down. So I was like, all right. Anthony was like 13 at the time, right? And he's been
you're
going,
what, 8 or 9?
Yeah, 8 or 9, maybe between 7 and 9. And he's like 13, and then I what's it called? We get in there and like I got my ass fucking whooped, bro. Like fucking nose just leaking blood. I remember being so embarrassed, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, what the fuck was that, dude? I thought I knew what I was doing, man.
What just happened?
What just happened, bro?" and it was funny because so I was going to the kids class, kids boxing, kids jiu-jitsu, and then I think I started like when I was like the age that I like felt like I could take a grown man, I would think I was like maybe like 12 or 13.
Okay.
Like, at the end of my stint at Undisputed, I was like sparring with adults, and I felt pretty cozy.
Okay.
And but I mean, who knows? Who knows if they were just going easy on me, and I was just this dumb kid that's just like, oh yeah,
you're like, I'm the shit. I can do this.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'll fuck this guy up, bro. You know
Better not see me on the street, man.
I know. But that was like some of my best memories are in that place, man. Undisputed was a shit, man. I was really sad. Oh, and also actually, no. I didn't go to Undisputed the whole time I was in San Diego because it was a little bit these memories are kind of like coming back now. It was a little bit expensive. So we went to this like older school gym for a little bit up in like Miramar area, which was called Black Tiger, and the coach there was Chris Getz, and there's this old man Lou, and I think they had like that was a pretty low key gym, and there was one pro boxer out of there. His name was like Lester. Okay. And one thing I remember about Lester is I remember hearing his conditioning workout was he'd do like 3 miles at like a 6-minute pace, but he'd do them as if they were rounds. So he'd do like a 1 mile hard rest, 1 mile hard rest, 1 mile hard rest. That's all I remember about Lester. And yeah. So, but I remember seeing him in there, and Chris Getz was super cool too. I remember, and Lou was pretty cool too. And the thing I remember about Lou is he would tell me to just work on technique, like punching poles instead of bags, because people get like too caught up on like punching shit hard and not like the technique of it. So he's like, bro, just punch the fucking pole in the cage and like work on like turning your shit over and bringing it back. Like Chris Getz would always say, like reach out. Like a jab is like if you're reaching out to grab an apple off a tree and then taking it back to like take a bite of it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So those are the things that I remember from there. And then moved from San Diego when I was like 12, bounced a little bit back and forth between San Diego and San Jose, and then lived in Atlanta, Georgia. And then when I went to Atlanta, Georgia, wasn't really in the MMA scene out there. I think I went and did like a trial class at some place, but it was too expensive. And but I was on the wrestling team for my high school. So and then before that, I was on the cross country team for my high school. So I would just do cross country and wrestling, and then wrestled 2 years there, and then came to Seattle in the summer in between my sophomore and junior year. So wrestled 2 years in Atlanta.
Start wrestling and cross country? Did you start that like as a freshman in high school, or did you start like in middle school?
I started as a freshman in high school.
Okay.
So I never once wrestled until freshman year of high school. I'd done jiu-jitsu, and like I was pretty cozy with like getting a hold of somebody, but never actually like did wrestling until freshman year of high school. And then my wrestling freshman and sophomore year in Atlanta was probably like the highlight of my wrestling career. Like it was like the best team that I was on. Like there's a lot of fucking good bodies to get work in. And there's a lot of like people, like there were a few people on my team like placing in state, and like there was a lot of people a lot better than me. So it's like I go there, I'm like bottom mid of the pack, right? Okay. I still varsityed all 4 years, but like I was definitely like, there was definitely like, it was like I was getting good ass practices in, right? And then when I came to Seattle, all of a sudden, like I'm the team captain, and there's like only like one or two people on the team that can like that even like around my size like get good rounds in. You know what I mean? So I feel like I kind of learned all my wrestling the 2 years that I was in Atlanta, and then when I came back, I like just towards the end of my wrestling, like my senior year is when I started beating people by points. I was like a very like I kind of like always knew that I wanted to do MMA, and no matter what that I was doing, like even wrestling. So I was like, I don't give a fuck. This motherfucker like gets me in wrestling. You know what I'm saying? This bullshit ass fucking. You know what I mean?
Wrestling is bullshit. Yeah,
wrestling is bullshit, bro. Fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah. If I see you on the street, it's gonna be
you're gonna take me down on the street. You know, and honestly, like even though like for real, like I remember head and arming somebody in high school and like rocking myself, like slamming my own fucking head on the ground. Like I would never do that on the street, dude. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe no. There's ways to do heads and arms, like to not hit your fucking own head on the ground. But maybe a head and arm is actually a good street move. Now that I think about it. But
I think it can be countered though. You can because that's the thing. You definitely see
like,
one guy goes for a head and arm, and then the other guy goes for a head and arm.
Just sinks down, just grabs him, lifts him up. Yeah. All right, so let's see, where was I? So that was now I'm in high school era.
Yeah.
Finished wrestling season, you know, and also when I first moved to Seattle was in 2015. I knew I wanted to do MMA, so I never actually wrestled in the off season of my high school. Like all these like high school wrestlers, they do like freestyle and Greco and
like
shit.
Greco and stuff.
They got like clubs and shit like that, and like they go to like camps and like fucking like all this types of stuff. And like, this is like what like type of stuff my homies in Atlanta would do. And I never did any of that. But when I came here, I started training at AMC, and I was training at AMC from 2015 until. When did they close for COVID?
Like 2020, like March.
Yeah, like until they closed. And then when they closed for COVID, you know, AMC was a dope spot. I fucking loved AMC. And you know, that's where I feel like I got a lot of like, let's see, I was like in high school to the first 2 years out of high school there. So like I remember I felt like the thing I remember about AMC is there's a lot of like people to get good rounds in, and I felt like just like getting competitions was difficult out of there. But in hindsight, like as far as my own path is concerned, I'm actually happy I didn't start competing at that age because like I felt cozy, like I've been like in sparring circles with some pros at that age, like between like 16 and 18, and I was like, bro, I fucking got this shit, you know what I mean? And then and then but then I was like, I'm happy I didn't start competing sooner because like I wanted to keep like, and like even now, even up until recently, like I've been having this mindset just like skill accrual. Like I don't think I want to make a pro debut until I'm 26. And I think the skill accrual, because once you start competing, you start like getting ready for competitions rather than just like doing what you love and getting good. You know what I'm saying? Like even like the stuff that you practice is going to be like you're not going to be there like just fucking around. Like you're going to be there like, okay, what is it that I'm good at? What am I, that I'm going to use in this competition, right? And I feel like it kind of like adds like a different perspective on your training that might limit it a little bit if you're not worried about competition at all. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, definitely.
But at some point, like also at the same time, like having a competition can drastically make you fucking better. So it's like I feel like there might be like a balance there somewhere.
Yeah, I say definitely there's a fine balance there, but I see what you mean. Like in terms of getting like skill acquisition, you can if you're like always preparing for a competition, it's not. I mean, let's say you have a competition coming up in like 6 weeks. It's not like you're really going to learn anything necessarily new, depending on where you are in the scale of skill acquisition. Especially, I'd say if you're pretty much from intermediate to expert, like you're no longer making like huge like beginner gains anymore in terms of knowledge. So really, all you can do is just refining stuff, and it's that's the thing because it's that regressive curve of skill acquisition. Like the more you know there is to know, but then the less you actually progress just because of it takes longer to gain skill in terms of that because there's already things that you're familiar with. So if you're always competing, yeah, you can gain like more new skills, but in essence, you're trying to peak at a certain point, and if you're peaking, you're not really working on like smaller skills. It's like it's like similar to let's say like professional sports where they have seasons. Like the off seasons where they implement like new stuff. They don't implement like new stuff during the season. Like, all right, guys, all new game plans like here and here. Because if you go from a week to week basis or like from a day to day basis, you're not all of a sudden going to get a professional do a whole brand new thing like, at a high speed.
Yeah. So that's like in hindsight, I'm happy about the AMC situation. AMC served its purpose for me, and I met a lot of cool people there, you included, and had a great time. And like some of my best memories are at AMC too.
Nice.
And now Google
always had that in mind.
Goddamn partner,
though, right?
Huh?
You always had like MMA though in mind because you
always had
like,
MMA in mind.
You did wrestling.
Yeah. Never and like even like all the way through wrestling. Like I never did wrestling in the off season. I always did MMA in the off season. And then now continuing the journey like that's like end of high school, 2020. So like out of high school, I got kicked out when I was 18 and was now trying to also like live as an adult and like come up with fucking like rent, put myself through school, all those types of shit. And I was working a lot, so it was a little bit harder to get as much training in. I still tried my best to get training in, but also after high school, I was in a weird mentality of like, I just want to be over 200 pounds. You know what I'm saying? So I got.
How did that start? Or like what?
Yeah, so I was on the dirty bulk hella, and like I thought I was doing a good job, Yeah. So it's like I think the biggest I hit was like I think I was like 215, and I thought I was like bro, I'll be like 10% body fat at 200, and then I get to 200 and I'm like shit, all right, maybe like 190 I'll be 10% body fat, right? And then I get to 190 and I was like, all right, it looks like it's closer to 185, and then I cut down to 185, and that's where I'm at now. So the process of COVID, I fixed all that. So when COVID started, I was probably at my biggest. And then I was also working my hardest. I was working like 60 hours a week, retail jobs and in school full time. And I remember I was working at the fucking Jiffy Lube down the street from fucking AMC, bro. I go to fucking AMC. I go be working at Jiffy Lube. I got to work open to close on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Get burns and shit from fucking oil pipes and stuff on my arms. And then I go down to AMC. I'd walk to AMC and fucking either I think they had sparring on Saturdays at the time.
Yeah, because sparring was at 1 on Saturdays.
Yeah, sparring was 1 on Saturday. And I'd ask my fucking boss, I'm like, yo, can I take like a 2-hour lunch? I'm gonna be right back, bro.
Fresh burns.
I take a whore bath in the fucking Jiffy Lube, right? And then walk down to AMC and then get some rounds in, and then all the blisters from the burns would just like fucking like rip underneath the rash guard, and then I walk back up to work, finish the work day.
Okay. All right. So that's what that was. Cause I remember, you'd have like these things on your skin. I was like, is this guy just into drugs or something?
I remember you were greasy and looking like a goddamn tweaker, bro. I was like, what
the fuck? Yeah. I was like, I guess Julius just gets down on the weekends. I don't know what he does.
I didn't even think about that yet, because I totally could have been like that motherfucker with a skin condition or some shit, but it's like, no, it's just burns, man. I still got scars from burns at Jiffy Lube.
Yeah. I was like, oh, maybe he works at Starbucks and then just takes some meth too, just to go.
Oh, I got some meth stories, but later on.
Yeah.
Okay. So continuing the martial arts journey, that's up until like my 19-year-old self, my 20-year-old self, right? Yeah. And then after COVID, so during COVID, when everything was closed, I didn't really train MMA, right? When they first opened up the fucking Woodinville Sports Club where AMC moved to, I started kicking the bag. But all through COVID, I was like, let me get my fucking self in like fight ready shape, because like I said, when COVID started, I was probably my biggest. So I was trying to run like 15 miles a week and lift like 3 or 4 times a week. And I actually fucked myself up doing that. And because I was a lot of running for me at my size. Mm-hmm. But I was listening to a lot of David Goggins shit at the time. So I was like, fuck it. Your back hurts. You're just being a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, push through that. There's no such thing as pain, dude. Pain is just neurons firing. You're gonna let a neuron tell you what the fuck to do. You know what I mean?
So neurons, you think you're better than me?
Yeah.
I'm a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
I'm gonna carry the logs on the boats.
I carried the logs of the boats, bro. I was out there swimming all day in the cold. You know, I was trying to eat things that make a billy goat keep puke. But so yeah, COVID got my body together, and got down to like a composition that I felt like I was cool at. And then I went to AMC for a little bit, and it hadn't really like sprung back yet. Like I wasn't able to get. I didn't feel like I was able to get the skill training that I needed there. A lot of my favorite people left. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying they're not good people there now. I'm not sure who's there now, but a lot of my people that I was homies with left. And I was like, all right, I got to find somewhere else to train if I want to get better. So I started going to the 10th Planet in Seattle, and where Nathan Orchard is the teacher. And I went there for like a year, and just kind of focused on jiu-jitsu. And I was like, I actually didn't even throw punches for like a decent period of time, which like I would get trained. So actually, let me think about this, because one of these, I'm trying to think what year this is. This might be 2021, because summer of 2022 is when I really started getting back into MMA, like legit. And that was after I left, because I trained whenever I went to San Diego, and I go to San Diego to visit family as often as I could. So I spent time at 10th Planet, just focused on jiu-jitsu. And that's like Nathan Orchard is probably the coolest jiu-jitsu teacher I've ever learned from. And I would say that because it's like I love his philosophy behind shit. Like he's like not trying to teach people specific techniques. He's like shows you like a movement, and then like tries like get the concept across. And he's also got like a system of things that he teaches, rather than just like, oh, today we're gonna do armbar, triangle, omoplata from guard. He's like, this is the system of what it means to have a Kimura lock on somebody, and like where like you can like take this, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I really appreciated that type of shit. And then I went to live in San Diego for 2 months over the summer of last year, summer of 2022, and I trained at Victory MMA down in San Diego. And then also one of my family friends got this spot called Studio 33, which they actually got legit ass ex-UFC fighter there and some good jiu-jitsu. So I trained at those two places when I was in San Diego. Got a lot of good rounds. Like San Diego is like a great spot for MMA. Like San Diego is like the mecca for MMA gyms. Like dude, you go like just the number of black belts per capita in Southern California has got to be like ridiculous, bro. Just some like random owner of a surf shop's like a brown belt, you know what I mean? There's a lot of which is like I love to see it, you know what I mean? And so then anyway, came back to Seattle after that, and then I found this place called Ivan Salaverry's. That's where I've been. And I trained at Ivan's for 6-8 months, and then just had my first fight. And then also between training at Ivan's, I go visit you guys down in Vegas, train at Fight Capital, the 10th Planet down there. And still, when I go to San Diego too, every time I go to San Diego, I'm going to go hit Victory and then Studio 33.
Nice. Okay. And then, that's been, quite an MMA journey there. But okay, so let's talk about your last 6 to 8 months you've been training. You were training at Ivan's, and then let's talk about the fight. I guess how did that how did the opportunity come, and what did you how was preparing for it? Yeah.
Dude, so the opportunity came. I love Ivan, dog. I never even had to ask to get a fight, dude. As soon as I walked in the door, he's like, "We need to get you fighting," and I was like, "Fuck yeah!" All right. I was like, and
did you read my mind? How'd you know?
I was like, dude, that's exactly why I came here, bro. I was like, right, and so it was supposed to get one like November 29th was supposed to be my first fight. I think there's something in November. Yeah. But I had too much shit going on, and then the holiday seasons came around, and then I also popped my eardrum the week of Thanksgiving at fucking Victory in San Diego. And it I felt so bad too, because it wasn't even against anybody hella tough. It was just like some big body just hit me with a 3, or no, I think it was my left eardrum, so I think it was their lead hook, but from southpaw, so their right hook, and it was just a slapping hook, and I was just standing there I'm good. I'm not gonna fucking get out of the way if slapping hook might get in or something. But just the big glove, just suction just went and just immediately just ear ringing. I was like, fuck, dude. And my hearing's probably never gonna be the same. But you know, it is what it is. It's a loud sport, so I'm not really too concerned. But
you're what? No, I'm just kidding.
What? Yeah. But yeah, so first fight was supposed to be then, and then that didn't roll through. There was a lot of shit going on over the holidays. You know, I was back and forth between here, San Diego, and Vegas, and then when I came back, first fight opportunity there was like a Muay Thai fight opportunity, but like it was like some short notice stuff, and like 2 weight classes up, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I kind of want to do MMA. I don't want even I don't get me wrong, like I'm cool taking short notice shit, and I think I could have fucked up whoever that was, but like say I take that fight and then get my nose shattered, and then I'm like, even though I won the fight and I gotta like deal with the nose injury for the next 3 weeks, then I don't get an MMA fight before I bounce from Seattle. You know what I mean? So it's like I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait for an MMA fight, and then MMA fight came along March 25th. And it was a fucking cool ass show, dude. Like it was literally the perfect first MMA fight. Like I could like everything that I wanted, right? Everything that I imagined and like my first fight being was like, you know, just some cage in a gym somewhere and like the homies, you know what I'm saying? Like, but this was like a fucking event, dog. Like, dude, Chael Sonnen was fucking cage side for this fight.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, and there was like a lot of UFC dudes there. Fucking Paige Van Zandt and her husband were there. And let's see who else was there. Ed Herman, Sam Alvey. Sam Alvey led us in prayer in the locker room. We're in the same corner. And then there was a few other UFC dudes in the corner. Yeah. And like one UFC dude, and then his homie who was on that card. He was like, I forgot what his name was, but yeah. So big ass show, like 1,000 people probably. And first fight, and the training. I think I had like 6 to 8 weeks notice, and I think. The two, you know, let me actually bust out my journal for this real quick.
Okay.
Let's see what it says. So I'm actually kind of a little bit disappointed in myself because I didn't journal as much as I wanted to fight week or this past week after fight week, but I got all the lead up. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks on point and like 1 week taper in. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
yeah,
and by
that's pretty good notice for an amateur fight for sure.
Yeah, and on point I mean like I was like doing like 5, 6 MMA workouts, 3 conditioning workouts, and then taper in I did like a lot more MMA, but like didn't do as much conditioning. Or actually no, taper in was the opposite. I did more conditioning and then like just 2 3 MMA classes. But yeah, so good notice, and I only had to cut 10 pounds, and everything went fucking good. I mean, the fight was awesome. Like, it was a crazy ass experience. Like I don't even really like care much about the wins. Like everyone like tell me like afterwards like, oh, congratulations. Like it just felt kind of weird. I was just like, congratulations for what, bro? Like, you know what I mean? What are you congratulating me on right now? And like I'm just happy I got to fucking be there and like be like I was like literally a fucking like a kid at Disneyland. You know what I mean? And I had a great time, and the fight went quick, a lot quicker than I expected. And like it was a really interesting experience because for me, like I've gotten nerves before jiu-jitsu competitions, and I used to get nerves before high school wrestling competitions, right? But even in like a crowd of 1,000 people and like a first MMA fight, like I was not nervous whatsoever. I was just like, it felt like it was exactly where I was supposed to be. And I was waiting for him. Like I would say maybe not. I don't want to say not nervous because like your body does have like like it has like releases of endorphins and chemicals and shit like that that's out of your control, right? But there was no butterflies in my stomach. Like there was no like lightness in my stomach. Like, oh my god, I'm about to go like walk out to the cage right now. You know what I mean? Like there was none of that shit. Like I was just ready to go the whole time. And like I was waiting for it. I was just doing my shit, doing my warm up. You know, I was feeling good, and I was like, even no matter how this fight goes, you know, I know I'm gonna go fucking put out, and like I know I'm a killer, so like we're gonna see how it goes, right? And then you know the way the fight went, it was I got a TKO in 24 seconds, and bro, whoever works at Tapology must be like dyslexic or something because they put me down as 42-second TKO. I'm like, it's not 42 seconds, bro. 24, dog. Get it right. Right.
Oh,
so I'm gonna
man.
have to call somebody about that or something.
Yeah. Hey, yo, Tapology. Who does your stuff?
Tapology. What the fuck?
They robbed you of your 18 seconds. They robbed you.
It's a whole 20, dude. It's a whole 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Or actually, I don't want to do math right now, but
It
but
is
anyway,
18, but yeah.
so my whole 6 weeks going into this fight, I was like, I'm not gonna do a takedown in the first round.
I know we talked about beforehand.
We talked about this for like 6 weeks beforehand. I was like, nah, bro, because the shit that pisses me off is like everywhere I go, people are like, oh, you're a grappler, huh? I'm like, since when? You know, I was like,
I'm a fighter, bro.
I was like, bro, like
Yeah.
I'm a scrapper, man. Like I want to throw these hands, like I've been grappling, but like just for fun, you know. And it's I swear to God, like my striking is just as good, if not better, than my grappling. And so I was like, all right, we're gonna this is a perfect opportunity, right? And I was like, I'm not gonna do a takedown in the first round. I was telling myself this for 6 weeks leading up to this goddamn fight, and then the fight comes, and I pop him with the jab, right?
Yeah.
And like I was talking to Ryan Ishmael, and I was like, he's like, you know, man, like even in a fight, like you want to like feel him out. It doesn't matter if you think it doesn't matter like if you're not worried, like you still want to just like have like a feel out period, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get out there, I'm gonna feel him out, dude, and then I'm gonna piece him up on the feet, and then it's gonna be fucking tight. And then I walk out there and I pop him with a jab, and I just felt like my whole body just smelled blood, and I was like, I saw his look on his face after I hit him with that jab, and I was like, oh, there's no way in hell he could take many more of these, and I could touch him. So then I stepped in with the fucking 2-3, bro, and then he like tried to close the distance, like kind of like clinch me,
like hug you,
and I just got elbows in, shucked him off, and then like shucked him off with the 3-2. I popped him with the 3, and I might have hit him with the 2. So I was talking to him after the fight, and apparently his forehead was split down the middle before it hit the ground. So, but anyway, so one of those punches like split the forehead, and he had to get 7 stitches in the middle of his forehead. And then after that, he threw a counter 2 at me, and like I like ducked, but like he like missed and was like already like he gave me his back. So I was like, and like me in the moment, I was like, I can't like I can't give it back, you know. So I just kind of grabbed it and went for the takedown, man. What can I say? Like, you know, like
he pretty much because I remember that he lunged at you. He pretty much loaded his weight like on you.
So and like and my arm was already there, so I was already halfway wrapped around him. So I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna like just picked him up, threw him down, and then that was my first time in my life throwing full force ground and pound, man. And like I what's it called? I always thought that I could. I always thought I had heavy hands, right? Even like in AMC, like people used to get at me for like sparring too hard and shit like that. But I was like a kid, like a rowdy kid, you know what I mean? And but like I always thought like I had heavy ass hands, and like I was just so cool to be able to like just unload, like just to see the full effect, right? You know, you rarely get like you never throw full force ground and pound in training. That's like something like so there's a lot of experiences that I'm happy that I got to get that I could only get in a fight. One of them was being like feeling myself smell blood and just like feeling like instincts take over and like knowing that I'm good in instincts. The other one was feeling like locked in mentally and like feeling like I was exactly where I was supposed to be and like not feeling butterflies in my stomach and just like knowing like this is what we do. This is like, let's go out there and fucking put on a show. And then the other one was you know, feeling the heaviness in my hands. And I was happy about that. And it was a crazy experience too, because it was so quick. Like I didn't even really realize like to like get excited or anything. Like when the ref, I always wonder what that moment was like when the ref like pushes you off somebody. And like I remember I was just like walked off, and I was like just like you know, when the people win fights they get all like excited, like screaming shit. I was like, it was none of that. It was just like weird, right? And then like later on, like I felt like even though everything went perfectly according to plan, this is like what I trained for. This is like what I want to do. This is what like everything went perfect as it could, right? Like fucking Chael Sonnen was fucking cage side. I'll tell you about the fucking Chael Sonnen interaction in a second. But the what's it called? The thing that felt interesting was like even after the fact, like even though I didn't have butterflies, even like I just watched myself go that like a day or so later, like my body still like understood that it was just part of some like fucking like gruesome violence. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what I mean by that is like, dude, when I was throwing ground and pound, like just I still like the first person view is just burning in my head. Just like throwing those shots was just such haste, and just seeing like the blood splatter like all over me, all over the referee. You know what I'm saying? Doctor got blood on him. Fucking Ivan got blood on his shirt and shit. So it was like even though like I just walked through it, like I didn't until it was like a day or so later that I was like, shit, that was some fucking gruesome shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally know what you mean. It's like you experienced it, but it didn't like that gravity of the situation didn't quite hit you until like afterwards. You're like, oh
yeah,
I just did that. I mean, that kind of happens in like a lot of situations. Like, you know, people talk about how they're like in shootings or something like that, where a lot of trauma happens, but you don't quite process it until afterwards. Like, oh wow, some shit really just went down right there.
Yeah. Straight up, you just do what you do what you know you got to do, and then you just like you don't even think about it until later. And then also but yeah, man, fucking great fight. Like I said, I wanted to get some more time in on my feet, but I'm happy about this fight because I feel like zero damage accrued. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I got on the map without starting the fight clock. You know, that's something I was worried about. Like what I was talking about earlier about being happy that I didn't start competing when I was younger, because like you've heard like once you start taking fights, you got like a 10-year window, and that's about like usually as many fight as usually like the period of time that you're going to be able to even fight. So I'm happy that like I feel like I haven't started that yet, even though I took a fight, because it was just such a clean fight, and hopefully they keep coming, but we'll see.
For sure, because it's definitely not just time, it's like mileage. It's like a car, right? Like you can have like a car that you barely ever use.
Yeah, like something that tripped me out was I think isn't PJ Dillashaw older than Jose Aldo?
Yeah,
and like that's mind blowing.
Is that kind of mind blowing? Yeah,
I remember when I first heard that, I was like, what? No way. I had to Google both their ages. Like, damn, it is.
Yeah.
But
yeah, for sure. I mean, competition's kind of a funny thing like that. But yeah, it really is. I mean, it really is like mileage, and also just, you know, the kind of fights that you're in, and also how you train. I feel like how you train is a big thing. That's why a lot of old school guys like ran through so fast, just because they would just fight every day in practice.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it is at Ivan's. We get a lot better as far as like you know, a lot of other people like talking to him, but like in the lead up of this fight, I think at one point I was getting like 4 sparring sessions in a week, when like I think like once a week, once every 2 weeks is kind of like recommended. But like it's also like there is a balance to find there too, because like shit, like ground and pound, you know, it's like if you're not doing ground and pound in practice, how are you gonna know? Like how many times have you watched a UFC fight and seen somebody on top of somebody and like not know how to put somebody out? You know, like have top position for like a fucking round and like just not know how to fucking like dig in there. You know,
maybe they just have no hands. Who knows?
Yeah. And what's it called? And then but yeah, so Ivan's mentality has been like, you should be learning all this shit, all the techniques, how to throw all these combos, all this kickboxing stuff, all this jiu-jitsu outside of this class, right? And then in the MMA team practice, it's like he's putting you in better situations to make you a fighter. So we do like a lot of situational stuff and like a lot of sparring. And like, yeah, it's not like, and like there's a lot of gentlemen's agreements where it's like you're not like throwing at each other, but like Ivan does want you to like be like he wants to like that's the era that he grew up in. That's the era that he experienced fighting. Like he fought in Japan and stuff, and it's like they got better at fighting by getting in fights. And so yeah, I mean that's something that like I feel like what's it called? I like, because it's like something I'm trying to think. It's something that there's a balance to be found there, because it's like I do agree with the shit that Ivan's saying, right? Like you need to get in these different situationals to like be better at fighting, because it's like you could drill all fucking day, but like never be mounted on somebody and ready to throw and like know like how to like, you know, like where to like, you know, like how to posture up. You know, it's different. Like throwing strikes and grappling is a lot different than throwing strikes or grappling. Like because you could open yourself.
Combination is key.
Yeah, the combinations, like the combination is different than the sum. And because at the same time of you could throw strikes to open up your grappling, or you throw posture, throw strikes opens you up for more defenses, right? So like, and I honestly think like sometimes like the optimal positions to be in might be a little different. Like, I think my favorite position to be in is I think it was called like no man's land is what Coach Tupper used to call it. And that's when like you're like, it's like kind of like mount, but when somebody hips out and you just like hip out and like you're like I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna start. So you're like on a knee, but like one of your foot's like your foot that they're towards the direction that they're hipping out, your foot is on the ground and like tucked in. So it's like more like a seated, like a on a knee type position than like a mounted position. And but anyway, that's just one little thing. But yeah, so what the fuck was I talking about? I like the mentality around it, but I do feel like there is a balance to find because you don't really want to be sparring that much, right? Because like we were saying, like with the damage accrual, a lot of time happens in the gym. But at the same time, you do want to get in those positions and see what's up. So yeah,
for sure, finding the balance between those. Okay, and then I guess like so after your first competition, how's the body feeling? Like in terms of damage, like you're the one putting out the damage, but how do your hands feel after hitting somebody like 100%?
My left knuckle. So immediately after fight, my left knuckle was a little bit like stiff.
Okay,
and also my right elbow. But I think this right elbow is just like some weird shit because like at one point I think I must have been like 16 or 17. I got arm barred and it popped one time. And like also if you look at it, like it kind of looks different than my other elbow. So like this one was just stiff, and I think it might have been from the the hammer fist.
Hammer fist.
So it was just stiffness in my right elbow and left knuckle. And like it's funny because it was specifically this top knuckle. It wasn't any of these other knuckles, just this one right here.
Okay.
The index finger knuckle.
Got it. And I guess you kind of already talked about, but like the sensation of hitting something 100% that's not a pad or a bag.
Oh yeah, even hitting a skull standing up was just like a different sensation. And like especially like in the 4 ounces, it was just like I mean like it felt like I'm trying to figure out what it felt like. Like I'm trying to like it's weird. I mean maybe like if a pad was hard because there is like that snapback, but it's like a lot. It's like. Yo, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So yeah, the last part kind of got cut off, but I guess you probably had a great point about how it felt of hitting a skull. So
yeah, what was the last thing you heard?
Last thing I heard was like talking about the give, I think.
Yeah, that's about all I said. It felt like maybe like hitting a counter, like something like a little bit harder, but like with also like kind of like a give of a what's it called, pad. The ground and pound was probably where my knuckle got fucked up, but also like that was like left-handed too, like which is like cool to feel, like the left is just as sturdy as the right.
Got these heavy hands, bro.
Heavy hands, dog.
Anthony, where you at?
Anthony, where you at? Oh man. So you're referring to the Anthony from the story before?
Yeah, from your first boxing sparring.
Yeah, dude. I actually fucking was homies with him for a little bit. Yeah. And like what's it called? I think when I was like 12 or 13, like I remember like seeing him, he's like, oh no, this was a different guy. This was somebody, this was like I was around the same age. So I mean Anthony was cool. I lost contact with him, but like I know he was cool. But what's it called? This was like a different guy. we had gotten down around the same age. Like he was like probably like 13 or 14, and I was like 8 or 9, and then
Yeah.
and then he ended up going to jail, bro. And then,
Oh shit.
and like his what's it called? His brother was dating my sister at the time, and or like they were like talking or whatever, and he gets out a few years later. He's like, hey, me, you got down a while back, did we? I was like, yeah, bro. He's like, word. I was like, oh man. Yeah, dude, some of my best memories at the fucking place. Undisputed was the spot. I want to go back. I mean, I say that, but like I want to go back, but it's like I don't know how Undisputed is. Like Victory is definitely the spot in San Diego. So it's like Victory is the spot.
Cool. So I guess talking about like what's next for you, like martial arts wise. I know you plan on doing some traveling, going out of the country. Like how's that looking?
Yeah, so I'm gonna be in Hong Kong until September 1st.
Okay. Until September.
And then I'm gonna be in Thailand like indefinitely after that. And after the Hong Kong, so I'm not sure what the scene's gonna be like in Hong Kong, and I don't know if I'll be able to get any competitions there.
Yeah.
But I think
I've seen Shang-Chi. I know how it is.
Yeah. So like I'll probably what's it called? I'm kind of wanting to focus on like body recomposition and just skill accrual the whole time, right? So like I want to be like a solid 185, like fucking shredded, and like that's kind of where I'm at now. But I want to be like more shredded, more muscle, and
got it. Okay.
So just like focusing on that. Like I'm also gonna be in school. I'm out there, and then when I go to Thailand, I want to get some Muay Thai fights in. So then I'm gonna be doing like I want to like go like do the traditional ass like fucking like morning afternoon workout with the Thai dudes, and yeah. So I think at least this year I want to do a Muay Thai fight before the end of the year.
Muay Thai in Thailand? What? No.
Yeah. And then the mid part of the year would be like over the summer and stuff would just be getting in insanely good shape.
Okay. And yeah. So I guess when does so Hong Kong it goes until September 1st? When does it start?
May 14th.
Okay, so coming up pretty quickly.
Yeah, May 14th I leave San Diego, and actually right the fuck now I'm packing all my shit. I'm already out of my place. I already gave away all my stuff.
Oh damn! Oh, so you're moving? Oh wait, so are you gonna be staying in San Diego or what's the plan?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna be bumming it. I'm gonna go crash in my car on the way down, and then I'm gonna just crash at my mom's place, my grandpa's place. Go see my cousins, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Go maybe just crash on the beach at night. Go take a nap in the library, bro.
Living the real fighter life.
Real fighter life, bro. Oh yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I'm excited.
Nice. So that was quite a journey. I mean, it makes sense how you didn't quite feel, I guess, the butterflies, just because you've been like preparing. I mean, if you think about it, you've been preparing for it since you were 8, like since you were really young, and that's like an over what, like 14, 15 years.
Yeah, dude, it's a long ass time, and it's like,
yeah.
Like not just of training, but of just like thinking that like this is what I want to do, and like this is like just envisioning myself in that situation, like envisioning like I get like there was times as a kid I could think of walking out and just like bring myself to tears. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And now it's just making that connection where you had an image of what it was gonna be, and now it was just happening there. It's like it was from visualization to actualization. So,
and it was interesting because like there was no feeling during the whole time. It was just like we visualized this as execute, and then I fucking thought about this shit and like was like, whoa, what the fuck, like afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, bro, Chael Sonnen was like, oh, this is a shit that feels like a fucking kid at Disneyland, bro. First of all, I didn't know
Chael Sonnen, undefeated, undisputed.
Bro, first of all, I didn't know the motherfucker was there, right? Secondly, like my mom's like freaking out or whatever because like she's like she freaked out, like imagine how you feel your kid's fighting somebody, right?
Yeah, so it's like, for sure.
She was hella nervous, freaking out, and like Chael was like talking to her beforehand, like, oh, it's cool, and like afterwards, like told her, he's like, oh, your son's very talented. And then I went up to this is before I even talked to him. And then later on, I was like, bro, I hate to be a fucking fanboy, but like, yeah, I take a picture. And he's like, yeah, of course. I was like, you can see my fight. He's like, yeah. And I was like, bro, I've been a fan for years. He's like, and now I'm one of yours. And I was just like, oh, what? I was like, what? So that was tight. There was a lot of great experiences. Yeah, man, I'm excited. It was a cool ass show too. Like, I'm happy it wasn't a show in front of just a cage in a gym, because it's like that's one thing I wanted to prove to myself too. It's like there's a lot of people out there probably that are like killers in the gym. They're better than world champs in the gym, but like in a crowd setting, they just don't know how to put it together. You know what I mean? So like
for sure.
I was happy to get a taste of the crowd setting. I did love. I have been thinking like you're saying like just like the thinking of things like I've been like envisioning like walking up to the cage, facing the crowd, putting your hands up, doing your little bow and shit, and then like all of that. I just executed, and it felt fucking. It was tight. It was tight in the moment, but like it was even tighter. Like seeing that shit on video, and it's just like can't stop rewatching the shit for like 3 days later.
Well, it's so long. I mean, I don't know. I'm not watching, but yeah. No, I think you bring up a good point though about the crowd. I feel there's a lot of it's really just it's like a translation. It's like translating your skills like from in the gym, and then just trying to get as pure a transition like into the into the actual competition there. But because that's the thing, you've seen a lot of guys that are really good when it's a training scenario, but then when it's an event or what's a competition, you're like, wow, that person, that's definitely not the same guy I was training with, or that's not the same person that I was training with. Like
100%.
They're unable to, it's like for some reason there's like a mistranslation. There's like they just can't get all the skills that they have into the competition. It's always like an odd kind of transfer there.
Yeah. Fighting is very interesting to think about in the sense it's something that you do that you can never really prepare for, but people fucking do what they think they can do to prepare for it. It's not like fucking the NFL where it's like, oh, we could have scrimmage games. You know what I'm saying? We could have like a whole season of scrimmage games and then we just do it in front of a crowd. It's such a crazy scenario that you're getting dropped into that like, you're right. It's a fucking performance. It's like there's a crowd involved. Like you got to and like the crowd can make or break people. Like one instance that I think the fucking crowd like might have broken somebody was when fucking Thug Rose head kicked Zhang Weili.
Yeah.
In Florida, and like Zhang Weili's got the Chinese rep of China, right? So it's like she just wasn't getting the love from the crowd, and then like immediately gets head kicked. When it's like I think that was like a lot more. That might have been a lot more competitive fight,
Yeah, for sure. It's an interesting dynamic. It's like similar, especially now with, now we're all past the COVID pandemic, but it was interesting seeing, like, I don't know if you follow the sports, but there were sports that played with no crowds, right? Like in basketball, it was interesting. It was like a bubble. There was no crowd, but a bunch of like the rookies did a lot better than what rookies traditionally do.
Oh,
and if you think about it, it's because they like there's less nerves because there's less like nervous energy there.
The seasoned guys, they're already chilling in the crowd.
These guys are already chilling. But in that case, the rookies that are especially coming in, think about it, if you're coming in from a college to like a professional, that's a big jump. Especially if you're not in like a big college. In terms of that, so it's interesting just seeing that kind of dynamic, and they're like exploring that. And I was like, oh yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's something that's in a team environment. So I think in an individual environment, it can definitely be.
Bro, it's gonna be like factor of fucking 10 to the 6, bro. Like there's no like being in like a group of people in front of a crowd is different than just being the one dude that's
exactly
and
the
not
one
only
guy.
that, but like everything's up. And not only that, bro, but it's not like you're losing a fucking basketball game, dude. It's like you're getting the shit kicked out of you in front. Like that's like like
real damage is happening to you.
Real damage. Like not only are you worried about people might think I'm losing, but it's like you gotta fucking worry about your health and safety at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like it's a crazy dude. Speaking of no crowd, dude, it's the shit that I kind of like watching the UFC fights with no crowd because like it felt like some like underground like Saudi princes just paying some people to fight in the fucking basement. You know what I'm saying? Like
I mean, that definitely happens. Shout out Saudi princes if you're out there.
Shout out to Saudi princes. Hey yo, send me the invite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We end up in Kazakhstan. Who knows?
I honestly wonder, dude. I wonder if maybe Francis Ngannou has fought Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury just in somebody's
some
mansion
Russian
in the middle of the fucking
billionaire's
desert.
house.
Yeah, right. But like that's what it reminded me of. I think did Ngannou. Oh no, he killed Rosenstrike in a no crowd environment, and like it was crazy to see that like amount of like brutality and like no cheer, no nothing, just like walk off and like on to the next thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I think also it's always well, I'm just remembering when Gagey fought Ferguson, just hearing like the sounds of the punches.
Oh
like,
yeah,
like,
dude,
yeah.
I forgot that one was no crowd too, or was that a small crowd?
That I want to say that was no crowd because I think because you could hear because I remember during the commentary you could just hear like the crack, like kind of what you're talking about, like of fist hitting skull.
Yeah, bro, and that was also crazy, like fucking seeing Ferguson not go out, but doing that fucking like shaking his face. I was like, dude, Ferguson's my favorite fighters too. I thought like, man, they should still let him fight Khabib. Like
in Russia, in a billionaire.
In Russia, dude. Dude, if I was a Saudi prince, I'd make it happen, bro. Not even kidding. Like
Saudi princes will get this going.
Seriously,
that's
dude,
the real reason you want to start a business.
Dude, that's a business and a half right there, dude. They could put on one fight and then
okay. All right. Well, I guess we can open up to like philosophical questions since we're heading towards the tail end here. What were you thinking? Yeah.
One question that I've had a lot is given you're going to a battle somebody else with the same option. Would you rather take 2 sticks or a sword?
Would I rather take 2 sticks or a sword?
Mm-hmm.
I'll take going into battle. Someone has the same options. I would take. I'd rather have the sword. I'd rather have like one sharper weapon than two other weapons. I mean,
really?
Yeah.
I used to do the same thing, but I've been thinking a lot more recently. Like, imagine if you had 2 sticks and you block one, or like say like the sword gets like stuck in the stick, and like then you could like move the sword and like just beat the shit out of somebody with the other stick. You know what I mean?
I could see that just in terms of the fluidity, but the way I see it, I would take like the one sword, like because the way I don't think about it as like weapon against weapon. I think about like weapon that does the most damage, and how am I going to damage them from using their weapon? So I'd rather I'm not going against their stick, I'm going against them. So if my sword hitting their arm is going to be more harmful than their stick hitting me, just in terms of that. So that's the way I see it, because I can incapacitate somebody if I use a sword against the arm. It doesn't need to be that big of a hit in terms of that. Yeah.
Word. And that, I feel you might already know. This is referring to, if you should train, Orthodox as much as you train Southpaw or whatever you're. And like, honestly, like I feel like AMC was also along the one sword line. And lately I've been feeling a lot more too sticky. And the reason being is because it's like, I think like say your lead leg is taken out. Like there's a lot of instances where people got to switch stances, like, and their sword is taken away from them. You know what I'm saying? And like if you drop your sword, you could drop the stick and still have a whole other weapon with you. You know what I mean? So like, I've been thinking a lot more about that. And like, I think me personally, like I want to have like, I don't want to be like, because here's the thing is like, you don't want to split, like maybe not a 50-50 split, but maybe if you have like a small sword and a small stick compared to like a fucking like Viking sword, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like a big I don't know what's that called, claymore, something like that.
Yeah, like you would rather have one of those or like a tiny, like a mini katana and like a stick at the same time.
I'd rather be more surgical in terms of that, but and that's the way I kind of see it too. I mean, like for me, I mean, of course, it'd be great if you had 2 swords, but because I've definitely, in terms of both stances, I definitely know both. If anything, I remember I had like 2 MMA fights. I was Orthodox, and then I didn't, and then like the next like 4 fights, I'll just go Southpaw just for the hell of it, and then that's what I did, and then it's like, I mean, I think it goes back like skill acquisition and what you do with it, because I think like most people will probably be better off. Like, let's say someone just learning, they're probably better off. It's like it's easier to learn just one thing, whereas rather than being crappy at 2 things. But if you're already like proficient at one thing, then it's a matter of getting yourself into scenarios too as well. Because I think that's the thing too with both stances. It's not like even if someone can use both stances, they're not necessarily good at both stances. There's like elements that they're good at. So it's just finding that intersection like that.
Where that's kind of what I was getting at too. It's like I'm not gonna split my time 50-50 and like, you know, train most of the time in southpaw, but like I do want to have like my 1-2 in southpaw like as powerful as my 1-2 in orthodox. You know what I mean? If I could pick like one shit like that, or like a 1-2-10 in southpaw as powerful as my 1-2-10. Like just pick like a few combos that like are always gonna be there at full strength. Like I feel like that's kind of like the path that I'm leading towards now.
Yeah, and if anything, I would say like it's good to. Are you familiar with the kickboxer/trainer Lucian Carbine?
One more time.
It was like Lucian Carbine, I believe is his name. He trained like Andy Risti. I mean, Andy Risti is probably one of his best students. He was the guy that Andy Risti knocked out Giorgio Petrosian in Glory. I'll send you some of the stuff later. But he was a great pretty much the combinations. He was just very fluid. It wasn't necessarily even like switching. I mean, he would just switch stances like mid combination. Like he would throw like 1, 2, 9, and then like from the 9 he would already be in southpaw stance, and then just like start going power, but like there. And that's kind of pretty much how he managed to. I mean, his best win was against Petrosian. That's the thing. He just hit Petrosian from angles he wasn't expecting, and yeah, I want to say knocked him out. That was 2016, 2015. It was like years ago, like before his latest knockout, like there.
Word, I'm gonna have to watch that fight.
Yeah, and Andy Risti, I'll send you stuff. But yeah, and I think that's the thing. I mean, ultimately, it's whoever knows how to use their weapon most. It's not really matter. It's not an ideal weapon. It's an ideal person that's wielding the weapon, because you could still lose either way. It's just a matter of how you execute.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's funny how you could train so long for like a 30-second fight.
But that's the thing. It was just because you're not preparing for the time that's elapsed. You're training for the performance. You know, 100%. Like, would you rather have a crappy 9-minute fight, or would you rather have a good 24-second, not 40-second Tapology?
Dude, seriously, man, I'm gonna have to call somebody about that. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna give a call. But yeah, bro. And then so on to Hong Kong, on to Thailand, and yeah, looking forward to what you do next. Anything else you want to tell the people before we sign off? Yeah.
Not that I could think of, man. You know, it's gonna be a second for my next MMA fight, but definitely what I'm planning to do, and definitely trying to play the cards smart. You know.
For sure. Yeah, because it's about, I mean, like we're talking about, it's about balancing the training, balancing the competition, and then balancing the what's it called? And then just balancing skill acquisition, but also not the damage acquisition too. So
100%.
Cool, man. I guess, and if some people want to find out more about you, how can they hear about you? Because it was like, it's Julius_619.
That's my Instagram. Yep, Julius_619. And I'll start putting shit up there, man. I've been off of Instagram for so long, and just like I've always just like not been a fan of social media. But like, if you want to fucking fight, like, why would you not like try to market yourself? So like, that's kind of.
I mean, you met the best marketer, KLP Sonnen.
Straight up. You know, hey, it doesn't matter if it's 1v1, 2v1, 5v1. You know, they're all gonna need 911.
Yeah. No, he has some great stuff, and I'll send you like a great quote too. Like Chael was talking about how, people say, because people say, oh, he took people's lines. He's like, well, yeah, if you look at the, the best artists steal. If you look at,
there's literally a book that I was just reading called like Steal Like an Artist, and it's about
like an artist, exactly.
It's like you could like if you're waiting for originality, you'll never get started. But if you just try to copy shit, like you will and like unintentionally like put your own spin on it, and that's where your creative mix comes from. Like reality is like everything's like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. No one's exactly a one of one. And he was just talking about big. If you look at like if you could say look at The Rock. The Rock wasn't. I mean, yeah, he is like one of one, but he took a lot of elements from other people, and he just mentioned other big wrestlers. He was like, yeah, and I was the same thing. He took things from other people, but in essence, just because he took it didn't mean he didn't make it his own. Because now, it's like if you do a cover of someone's song, but yours is more well known, then who executed the song better? in terms of that.
Like, right?
Is it your fault?
Isn't that like Little Wing? Like the Jimi Hendrix song is actually a cover.
Yeah, but
no one knows who the fuck wrote.
No, exactly. You know Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah,
exactly, because he played it better.
Straight up.
No, it's how it is, and in terms of that kind of and then your own originality like springs from that. So that's it, and that's the thing. No one, and that's like, how can you be completely original? Because in these kinds of techniques, these techniques have been around for so long. Yeah.
That just reminded me of fucking another philosophical question, if you don't mind, before we go.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this. Do you think as a fighter there will always be shit to learn? Or do you think okay, so that's what I was thinking, right? That's what I was thinking. I was like, of course there's always gonna be shit to learn, right? But then I was like, a lot of fighting is getting a system in place, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, once you have your system in place.
Oh, it's kind of cutting off right now. But yeah.
Okay. Once you have your system in place, do you think it what's it called? Like, you're sharpening your system, or do you think you're adding new things to the system?
I think the biggest thing, I mean, you kind of cut off there, but in terms of the system, it's sometimes just being more streamlined means taking stuff out. You know, it's talk about like let's say like a vehicle, like a car. Just because you have more horsepower doesn't necessarily mean it goes faster. You know, biggest engine. Sometimes it's about, and like we're talking about in terms of like the weapon, right? Like, would you rather have like a big, like heavy sword, or would you rather have like a sharp katana? It really matters on like who's using it, right? I mean, sure, somebody that and it depends on, once again, in terms of the artist, in terms of the person that's wielding the weapon, right? Like what's going to work best for them. If anything, you can take a look at some cases of people like adding stuff and becoming worse. Like when Damian Maia tried to add striking and became like just a striker, then he ruined his system. It's like he had, an F1 race car, but decided, you know what? I can also go on a bike. And then when he uses bicycle,
if I'm going to race in this car, bro, imagine me on a bike.
Yeah. It's like, I spent 20 years building this great car, but you know what I'm gonna use instead? my new bicycle. But yeah, it's like people sometimes get shiny toys, and that's the thing too. I think if anything, and also as you progress, as your system becomes more you realize that it becomes harder to add stuff, right? Like it's becoming like, whereas if someone's starting from like, okay, now let's use like the clay analogy, right? If you're building something, like if you're it's totally blank, then it's easy to add on. Whereas if you're already making a piece that's like 10 years in, you can't just, all right, I'll just start adding more stuff. That's gonna mess up with what you already have.
Interesting. Yeah, I never thought about it like that. That's a good point.
Yeah. So if anything, yes, I would say yes, you are always adding stuff, but the amount of stuff you add is going to be less because there's less to add on, and you have to always be cautious of, it's like if you're building a house, right, and it's already built, like why would you all of a sudden just try and combine? You'll just have two shitty houses like combined into one, rather than like one like cohesive. It's like having everything blend in. I think having it not just necessarily blend in, but be conjoined, I think is the most important thing in terms of that kind of skill acquisition. Not just like taking in just taking in everything. Some of us taking everything is also bad. You can also look into some fighters like that gained a bunch. Even though they gained more skills, they didn't get better as a fighter because they didn't execute as well. I mean, I mentioned that. Yeah. There's also,
and you only have a limited amount of time to train, so it's like, do you train like there's so much to learn. Like jiu-jitsu in itself is like a decade to get like good. Striking in itself is another decade to get good. But like if you got a decade in mixed martial arts, like where do you pick and where?
Yeah. Well, where do you pick? And that always depends on you. But also, I think you kind of alluded to as well when you talk about the combination or like the mixing of both makes both different. Someone that's really good at just solely jiu-jitsu or grappling, there are some instances that they're going to get into that an MMA fighter will not necessarily need to know. Or not necessarily need to know, but they won't get to the depth of that. Just like how there's depth of, Muay Thai fighter or kickboxer or a boxer will get into striking scenarios that an MMA fighter might necessarily never find themselves in, or just because the distance can be different, the grappling is going to be different, the clinch is going to be different in terms of the variables. Not to say that it's not useful to know, but like the risk to reward ratio or the worth it in terms of spending your time in won't be as beneficial for you like down the road. Or not necessarily down the road in the competition bet you're doing. There's like a lot of sports specific shit that really just depends on like what arena you're competing in. So that's what I said.
Yeah, dude. As when I first heard that question, I was like, well, theoretically, if you're just putting a system together, then like at some point in time, you might perfect that system and then just be training it. But like, that was even another interesting point you made, is like, you could take things out. Taking things out might be like considered learning something new, but just doing something more efficiently. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And then it's also just seeing how your system goes against other things, right? Because that's the thing. You have it against the, small like pool that you've tested against now. But if you test against more things, you see, oh, wait, there's some things. I mean, that's really how a fighting career goes, right? You see how other people interact with your system. And then you're like, oh, well, there's some things I need to like adjust like here. So it's figuring that out. Yeah.
Sure. I'll try to think if I have any other philosophical questions. I'll save some for next time, though.
Say something next time. Cool. That's been Julius619.
Julius619 on Instagram. I don't have shit on there, but soon.
Soon. Yeah, it's like underscore, right? It's Julius_619.
Julius _619.
Yeah, people are, hey, people might be dyslexic, just like the topology person, right?
Yeah, dude. I can't believe that. 42 seconds is different than 24, man.
You're taking everything. Yeah, exactly.
You're taking everything I work for,
got knocked out. Got knocked out in that span of time.
Oh, that's so funny.
All right, cool. That's been Julius. And yeah, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, bro. Peace.